With any worktop joint, the final finish is dependent on the quality of the cut. Ensure that your router bit is sharp and that your jig or straight edge are firmly clamped into place. 3 or 4 passes of the router are normally enough. If you need to cut the worktops roughly to size, you can use a jigsaw or circular saw. Then, taking into account the size of the base of the router, measure the position for clamping our straight edge. Finish the cut by trimming back with the router. The mason's mitre is cut as you would with a laminate worktop. Here, the jig is clamped in place and the female side of the joint is cut. 3 or 4 passes of increasing depth will ensure that the cut is clean. Clamp the jig to the reverse of the board and cut the 3 bolt holes. 2 passes will normally be enough. The tongues that are supplied as part of the jointing kit are a vital part of the installation of a Maia joint. Don't be tempted to ignore them. They not only help with ensuring that the joint is level, but they are also key to the strength of the bond that the glue can make. The groove that the tongues sit in needs to be cut directly under the surface, so that the adhesive bonds to the acrylic surface material and the tongue for a totally secure finish. The groove is cut with either a Titman UG3 groover with a UG ALR arbor, or you can use a biscuit groover to produce a cut 3 mm wide and 13 mm deep. Finish the groove just short of the front edge, but go all the way through to the back of the worktop. In the case of a breakfast bar or similar, finish both grooves short of the face material. With the adjoining worktop in the correct position, mark the position of the male joint in pencil on the underside of the worktop. Be aware that in doing this, you may leave pencil marks on the female side of the joint that will need to be cleaned off before completing the joint. This is particularly vital on the lighter colours in the Maia range. The male side of the joint is cut much the same way as the female side. Here, as we are using the 1.8 metre sink module that is edged on both sides, similar to a breakfast bar, we have made a full depth plunge cut at the back edge of the joint to avoid the cutter splitting the surface when it pushes through at the end of its cut. Again, 3 or 4 passes will allow the router to move freely and make a clean, straight edge. Cut the 3 matching bolt holes. Now, both halves of the joint are complete. Before we finish the joint, our 2 worktops are now ready for dry fitting. This stage is vital to make sure the 2 halves fit together perfectly before they're stuck together. As the router tends to deflect at the end of the cut, here we are using a sanding block to flatten this off.